wonderful day. It's a great day. Let's get going here. It is a hell of a day right now for a lot of us who have been following this case. Please share. It's amazing. We all waited such a long time for this. Everybody's been very patient. It's just been wonderful. Everybody's been telling everybody to relax and chill. Hey trucker, how's it going? Nice of you to join, everybody. Be right with you. This is usually not my normal time, but it's a special day. Welcome everyone. Welcome. The music, it's called an intro. It kind of gives everybody a chance to come in. Why is it funny? I don't know why it's funny. Couldn't tell you. Why is my something's not right. Something's not right here. Why is it only on Periscope? Hold on just a second. I want to check this out. Okay, that should go to... There we go. Howdy. Welcome, everyone. Let's get rid of that. Ah, there we go. I was wondering why D-Live was not showing up. There we go. So please share. Like and comment if you'd like to. It is fine. Hey, Rock, what's up, man? Oh, wow. What a day. Well, you know, just a couple hours ago, and everybody's going to start scoping about it, and there, some have. I know I did. The General Flynn's case was dropped, and it was such a great feeling. This poor guy. Hey, movie time. What's up? Glad you could join. But, you know, there's a lot of people still don't know how we got here. And it's been that kind of a... Okay, there we go. It's been a long road. People have been saying, well, there's going to be a lot of... It's not going to happen. He's going to be, like, thrown in prison and yada, yada, yada. And like I've always told people, you got to be cool about things, because these things, of course, once again, take time. Now, the thing is, once again, if you've been living under a rock, or you sure haven't been paying attention to what's going on. When this whole thing started, when Trump got in, and this actually happened beforehand with the general. Now he's a very talented, smart man who has a very long career history in the military, but he was picked for the president's intelligence advisor, I believe. So really, this whole thing started back in June 24th of 2017. So you're looking at 4 long years. This man has just been through hell. And it started back then when Flynn was a national security advisor to Trump, was approached by a pair of FBI agents to interview him at the White House. They wanted to discuss communications between him and a Russian ambassador, Kuzliak. Now, really, Kuzliak has been seen with Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi. They actually had dinner with them. So why aren't they being investigated? But not to be sidetracked, according to the reports, in December 16, which unknowingly to Flynn, had been picked up in a wiretap discussing an interview about would later then be biased with false statement charges and a guilty plea. And then, with this whole thing, now the president wasn't the president then. He was just not even sworn in yet because, all right, man, have a good one, Rock. Thank you. Appreciate it, Rock. Back then, in February the 13th, Flynn resigned at the White House Post. No, actually, he was inaugurated then, wasn't he? In 2017. Well, let's kind of back this up. Okay, I went ahead of myself. I shouldn't have done that. Actually, the whole case dropped on since the new release of the documents a couple days ago, shedding new light. I'm going to rewind this because I just threw this all together and I'm getting it together. So really, there was new documents saying that the FBI basically tried to shake him down to get him to have a false plea, because if he did not plead guilty, they were going to start charging his son with false statements. And so that's generally why he did it. But when you go all the way back to when this started, it started way back then, December 16th. But then on February 13th, Flynn resigned from the White House Post because of all this. And then the resignation came as he was accused of misleading the Vice President Pence and other senior White House staff. Pence, after being briefed by Flynn, had said in a television interview that Flynn had not discussed anything about the ambassador. On May 27th, a special counsel, Robert Mueller, had appointed Deputy General Rod Rosenstein, imagine that, to take over the investigation of the Russian collusion. It was all a big hoax. Barrs also needed to remind Bill DeFeur about the Constitution. Yes, he does. Back on the where was I? On the collusion. Okay, Trump accused of the 2016 election. On December 1st of 2017, as part of Mueller's investigation, Flynn pleaded guilty, making false statements to the FBI regarding his talks with Kislyak. Flynn was charged with lying to federal investigators about whether he had talked to Kislyak about limiting the Russian government response to a former President Obama's sanctions of the election meddling. Now, we all know that was all bullshit too, because there was no Russian meddling, even though they have probably tried it in the past. This was all a deflection, of course, during the we have a lot of butthurt and we're sore losers type from the Democrats. The investigators were about to whether he talked to Kislyak about the limited Russian government response to Obama and the meddling. His plea deal involved a full cooperation with the investigation in the special counsel's office. According to the charges of documents of false statements that were on December 29th, 2016, Flynn did not ask the government of the Russian ambassador to the United States to refrain from excluding the situation in response to sanctions that the United States had imposed on Russia. The same day, Flynn did not recall the Russian ambassador subsequently telling him that the Russians had chosen to mandate his response to the situation and results of his request. But on December 22nd of 2016, Flynn did not ask the Russian ambassador to delay the vote or to defeat the pending United States Security Council resolution that the Russian ambassador subsequently never disclosed to Flynn, responding to his request. Flynn agreed to cooperate fully, truthfully, cooperatively, and forthrightly, and then with the investigation, with sentencing delayed until those further efforts then have been completed. Flynn was told he could not substitute the federal prison he could go to prison for up to 5 years. So that's what he was okay as, 5 years. Now, we also know today that a lot of documents, and again the 302s, were actually rewritten by Strutt and Page. So the FBI did meddle in this case. And it's really starting to come to light a lot. And this is where the dominoes are going to really start falling. This is the first for the Democrats. Now, a lot of, even though Mueller was more, a lot of people are saying he wasn't really involved in the investigation. And this was really written more lawyerly type, like lawyers. And that when he went to testify, Robert Mueller, he couldn't tell you anything that was actually in this whole report that took 3 years, 32, if not more, $1 million of our taxpayer money. So this really went on for a long time. We're talking 3-4 years. Flynn gave his guilty plea to Randolph contrast of the district court for the District of Columbia that later day, considering himself in this case the judge on the Federal Intelligence Service Court. But back in February 1st of 2018, we're going to jump a little bit. 2 months after Flynn had pleaded guilty, Mueller and Flynn's attorney filed yet a joint status report to Judge Elmer Sutherland, requesting more time. Due to the status of the special counsel investigation, the parties did not believe that this was a matter is ready to schedule for a sentence hearing at the time. And filing from Mueller and Flynn's attorney, Robert Keeler at the time, and Stephen Anthony, the parties shall file a joint status report by no one other than May 18th or 2018, starting whether the matter should be scheduled or for sentencing, or whether deadlines should be set for finding another joint status report. So really, again, they violated Michael Flynn's constitutional rights on many fronts. They filed false accusations, and they were aware of it because, again, as we just found out, there will be more coming out. But on, where did I go? Getting my notes here. House Intelligence Committee report on the Russia probe was released. Eventually, undocumented report said the FBI agents did not believe that Flynn intentionally lied about the Russian ambassador. I don't think he lied at all. I don't think he didn't have anything to hide. That was part of his job, is talking to ambassadors. Director Comey testified to the committee. If we all sat and watched that one, I'm sure, that the agents discerned no physical intentions of deception. They saw nothing that indicated to them he was lying at all. So Comey, under oath, said he was not lying, yet they still charged him with lying. Comey thought dispute the claim, saying someone mishandled something. I said, I don't believe that it doesn't say that. So right there should be the timeline, is when I believe Strzok and Page doctored the 302s, which would be in the same report that goes to the court. Special Counsel Flynn's attorney, another state status report, requested yet another 90 days for a delay of Flynn's sentencing. So they kept delaying because they knew they had more evidence. Sullivan demanded information about both sides had repeatedly asked Flynn's sentences to be delayed. Just the FBI wanted to change. That's exactly right. They wanted to get everything. They were looking for any olive branch to take down this president. At the time, you got it. Very good. Very good. You got it. So this is all it mattered, is if they could get to the president. They would as we all know, they've been trying really hard to charge this man. Deep state goes as well beyond the federal government. It includes rogue judges. You got it. Yup, it sure does. And this is what a lot of people, I don't think, understand. Legally sent Shelby Luther to jail. Right, exactly. I don't think a lot of people understand that there are corrupt judges that have to actually deal with when we start charging like Comey, Clapper, and Brennan, and whomever. They don't understand. If they have Obama-appointed judges, do you think they're really going to find them guilty? They're going to be biased. Now, whether it goes to tribunal is another question. I'm not listening to anybody who's going to sit there and tell me they know for a fact they know where this is headed. How would they? I mean, I'm not trying to put anybody down, and everybody's welcome to their opinion, but the thing is, you got people like you and I who do everyday jobs, and we don't know where anything's going. I hope they go to tribunal. I really do. I hope they are right. But how would they really know? We don't. Why, if that was the fact, how come General Flynn never went to a tribunal? I mean, he's a general. It went to a regular court which handles government agencies. Excuse me. I get real dry mouth around here because you're talking so much and so long. In August 21st of 2018, another status report was filed by Mueller and Flynn's attorney, citing that the former National Security Advisor was considering to cooperate with the special counsel. Then Flynn's attorney said that the client was eager to wrap this up and proceed sentencing. This had to be the timeline where they were more or less trying to shake him down, I would say, and threaten him with charging his kids. And I would not put it past the deep state to do anything at this point. As much as we've learned over the years, it's more than likely would definitely happen. On December 4th, Mueller filed a memorandum requesting that the sentence, with a possibility of no prison time for Flynn, stating that he has offered submission. God, man, I can't words like that get all tongue-tied, man. Submission will help the investigators about several outgoing investigations. So they were definitely looking to other branches. I lost my place. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes that I got, and the dang thing keeps jumping. Okay. Given the defense's submission assistance to other considerations set forth below, a sentence at a low end of the guideline range, including a sentence that does not impose the term of incarceration. It appreciates the warranted. The memo said Flynn sat at 19 interviews with Mueller and the Justice Department, according to the memo. The heavily reduced submental filling attached. The document did not provide significance, about the actually, Accountant Mueller had learned that Flynn, I hate these glasses, about indictment and indicated that he provided documents and communications about the time that working with the Trump administration during the transmission period. So on December 9th, in the panel appearance at MSNBC, Nicole Wallace, former FBI Director Comey, was asked FBI agents ended up with the White House at June 24th, 2017. In an interview, Comey responds, provided new details about the circumstances that fueled the criticism of the Bureau's conduct. Comey said, I sent them something I probably wouldn't have done, or maybe gotten away with in a more organized administration. The interview was arranged directly with Flynn, which was not typical protocol. Now, I've only ever had one little criticism about the general, but it's easily overlooked comparing to his basic career. I believe he was in Afghanistan, and he did leave a folder on his desk, which was actually should have been in the drawer. And I think a reporter, and I forgot who the lady was, could easily look at it. Now, that's my only criticism. It's my only one. Not saying he's an angel. On December 12, 2018, Flynn's attorney said in court filing, the former FBI Director Andrew McCabe nudged Flynn not to have an attorney present during the questioning that leads to a guilty plea. Right there is a violation of his rights. If you're allowed to have an attorney, normally most people do know this, that you have an attorney when you're in an interview and you're being questioned by, especially by the FBI or even the police. That's possible. The document released that the FBI took a significantly more aggressive track to handling with Flynn's interview than it did during the other similar matters, including the agency submitting the Hillary Clinton and ex-Trump advisor George Papadopoulos, who was also charged in a making a false statement in federal interrogations. So this is why I keep calling them like the Gestapo, because the Gestapo in Nazi Germany would do this real quick. This is what they did. We're not supposed to be doing this in this country at all. I just lost my feed in Periscope. So here we go. Flynn's attorney alleged that the FBI agents in this case did not indicate Flynn that any false statement had been made consistent of a crime, damn it. Thing keeps jumping, excuse me. Yeah, I lost my place. Okay. Yeah, I hate when this happens. And it's right where I wanted to be too. Because this is the real important part of it too. Flynn's attorney alleged that the FBI, let's try this again, in this case did not indicate Flynn had any false statements made to constitute a crime, and decided not to confront him directly in anything he said that considered their knowledge of his wiretap communications with Kuciak. If Flynn had said he did not remember something they knew he said, they would have extracted words from Flynn's used, trying to refresh the recollection. The FBI warrant in a so-called 302 witness interview report carried by the filing. If Flynn still would not confirm that he said, they would not confirm he talked to him about that. In December 14th, Mueller faces the afternoon deadline to proceed the sensitive FBI document release of Flynn's interviews. Sullivan brief order stated that Mueller can choose to file the materials under seal if necessary. Sullivan also ordered the Flynn team to turn over the documents backing up their stories. So you kind of see where it already heads there from, it's like 2 years in. The 302s are coming around, and that's where it is. Excuse me, I need a drink. So that's kind of where it hit mid, where it really got murky, as far as I'm concerned. Mueller faces nope. And then after time, we go to March 24th, 2019. December 14th, 2018. Sullivan has the authority to toss Flynn's guilty plea and charge against him if he concludes that the FBI interfered with Flynn's constitutional right to counsel, though he has given no indications that he intends to do so. March 2019. By March 2019, Flynn sought another delay in the sentencing, saying that it could probably cooperate further with the Justice Department. On March 24th, 2019, Attorney General Barr releases the principal collection. Special Counsel Robert Mueller completed the Russia probe. Barr revealed that Mueller did not find that Trump campaign or anyone else associated with it conspired or colluded with the Russians who worked on hacking the efforts of 2016. But did it really stop the Democrats? No, it didn't. It never would have. They're an obsessive group, and they're still obsessive. From what I've just read, which I'll get to in a minute, Nader's already throwing a damn little fit. He is still, and if you're not aware that Trump and Nader have a long history of legal battle. We're going years, at least 20, if not longer. After 2 years, Barr Barr revealed that Mueller did not find that the Trump campaign colluded with anybody, despite multiple offers from the Russian-affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign. April 18th, 2019. After 2 years of suspense, Mueller report was released into Washington possession skirm. Thursday shows investigators did not find any evidence of collusion between the 2016 campaign and Russia. Surprise. All that money wasted. Then we go to May 29th, jump to May 29th. Mueller announced the investigation was completed. Special case was closed. It was over. On June 6, 2019, Michael Flynn fired his legal team as he awaited sentencing, ending his relationship with Coveston and other lawyers, Robert Kleiner and Stephen Anthony. On the 12th of June, Flynn fired his legal team, hired a vocal Mueller critic to represent him in his court, Sidney Powell. She's a ball buster. I like her. I do like her. On June 29th, Flynn, after firing his legal team, hired her. Excuse me. There's a lot to go on, I'm telling you. Powell, former federal prosecutor, upon joining the Flynn defense, said he would continue to cooperate with the government. Powell filed a motion saying that Flynn's case was still not ready for sentencing, considering her position as new counsel and the timeline of recovering necessary files and documents that were to be critical to the defense of her client. Powell, who claimed in her filing that the government was delaying her request and security clearance needed to review classified material to Flynn, including transcripts and recordings and phone calls and other charges against him. October 2019, Department of Justice Attorney Brandon Von Garrick and Joyce Beltran of the U.S. Attorney from the District of Columbia, Jess Liu, fired back at Powell for Flynn's defense, saying that their violation of various information requests from the government were either introvert or seek information that has already been provided. The DOJ attorney said Powell's filing in August was, in fact, an effort to have his case dismissed. In October 25th, 2019, Powell filed the motion urging the court to dismiss the entire prosecution to oust government misconduct. Powell, at the time, alleged that the FBI officials manipulated Flynn's FBI 302s from Intel, January 2017. Interview the federal prosecution. 302s were forms used for the agents to report or summarize interviews. In October 29, 2019, days later, U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan canceled a hearing calling Powell's motion demanding that the government proceed all evidence related to Flynn and dismiss the prosecution altogether. That was a sure sign that this case was over. In December 2019, Sullivan set a June 28 sentence date for Flynn, but rejected the legal term request for information that may have been withheld by the FBI. Sullivan also said that the Flynn waived his fundamental constitutional rights by pleading guilty to make false statements in the first place. Flynn guilty plea, Sullivan wrote, officially bar him from raising claims based on any evidence obtained in violation of the Fourth Amendment. Even if Flynn had not waived his Fourth Amendment rights, Sullivan argued that Flynn still needed to establish that he requests information is favorable to the defense in order to obtain it, something that he has failed to do, the judge said. On June 7, 2020, getting a lot closer, Justice Department recommended up to 6 months for prison time for Flynn, claiming that he refused to accept responsibility. Given the serious nature of the defense's offense, his failure to accept responsibility failure to complete his cooperation in, and his information effort to undermine the prosecution of ex-Flynn associate. Bijan Refglin, a government recommended that the court sentence the defendant within the acceptable guidelines range of 0 to 6 months of incarceration, the federal prosecutions wrote in a series memo Tuesday. So these are the events that led up to today. Given the serious nature of the defense, that was it. The filing represents the stark change from a prior Justice Department recommendation, which suggests Flynn receive a sentence up at a low end of the guideline range. Federal prosecutors in early suggest that Flynn not serve any prison time, who carried his cooperation in order federal cases, including Special Counsel Mueller. Flynn moved to withdraw the guilty plea for lying in June 14, 2020. Guilty plea for lying, calling bad faith vindictiveness and a breach of plea agreement by the government. The prosecution has shown object bad faith and pure restriction against Mr. Flynn since he retained new counsel, Powell wrote in the filing. This can only be because with new conflicted counsel, Mr. Flynn refused to lie to the prosecution. And on June 16th, Sullivan Sullivan pushed back Flynn's sentences again, dumping the date to February 27th after Flynn motioned to withdraw his plea guilty. On February 9th, federal prosecutors proposed delaying accepting deadline in the Flynn case. Prosecutors argued that Flynn, former attorney, should testify before he claimed to receive insufficient absence from them. The government requests that the court suspend the current briefing scheduled, considering the defense's motion until such time the government has been able to confer with Colvin regarding the information to seek, prosecutors wrote. On February 10th, Sullivan postponed Flynn's sentence's date after federal prosecutors filed their motion to delay the deadline. On February 14th, Barr tapped U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Missouri, Jeff Gendron, pardon me if I mispronounce his name, to interview Flynn's case. Then he was assigned to work hand-to-hand with a lead prosecutor of Flynn's case, Brendan Von Garrick. March 15th, Trump said he was strongly considering a pardon for Flynn after reports of the Justice Department's misplaced his records for Flynn's January 17th intel interview with federal prosecutors, 302s. So, now it is reported that after destroying his life and the life of his wonderful family, the FBI is working in conjunction with the Justice Department. His losses records of General Flynn's. Trump tweeted, "How convenient. I'm strongly considering a full pardon." On April 29th, new intel FBI documents were unsealed in late April, revealing top bureau officials discussed their motives. Lost my place. For interviewing a national security advisor, Flynn, in the White House of January 17th, and openly questioned if their goal was to get him to lie. I don't know why that is off. Sorry, I lost Periscope. They're blocking it. They gotta be. I think they blocked me off. Assholes, aren't they? Yeah, I think they blocked me. Let's see. The handwritten notes written by the FBI former head of counterintelligence, Bill Pistertap, after a meeting with the FBI Director James Comey and FBI Department McCabe, Fox News is told, further suggests that the agents planned in the alternative to get Flynn to admit breaking the Logan Act. Well, at this point, right now the only one that I'm aware of breaking the Logan Act is Kerry. And that's dealing with Iran. When he spoke with then Russian Ambassador Kislyak during the presidential transition period, the Logan Act is an obscure statute that has never been used in a criminal prosecution. And has since 1799, in an era before telephones. It was intended to prevent individuals from falsely claiming to represent the United States government abroad. That's where it comes to carry. What is our goal? One of the notes read, truth, admission, or to get him to lie, so we can prosecute him or get him fired, according to the FBI. If we get him to admit breaking the Logan Act, gives facts to the DOJ. Have them decide whether, note read, constitutional law professional Jonathan Tyrrell called a document inacceptable chilling. The memo appears to weigh the pros and cons for pushing those different paths. I don't see how getting someone to admit their wrongdoings is going easy on them. One note read, Flynn did not ultimately admit a wrongdoing in his interview. And May 7th, 2020, the Justice Department drops his case, and that is today. God bless him. It's amazing, and that's where we are today, and this is how it all came about. It was really an amazing deal. And this is the headline today.
So, a Fox News alert, just breaking in this hour, the Justice Department is dropping the case against Michael Flynn. He had been appointed by President Trump as the National Security Advisor. There's a long history of this case, and we have former U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy still with me now. Andy, I know that there's going to be a lot of criticism coming to the Justice Department from the left or from people who are opposed to this move. One of the things I think that you'll see them try to make the case is that, well, why would Michael Flynn have pled guilty if he wasn't guilty?
Yeah, well, Dana, as we discussed a couple of minutes ago, he contends that they basically threatened that if he didn't plead guilty, they would investigate and prosecute his son for a foreign agent registration violation. And there's now some corroboration.
And can I ask you, Andy, I mean, is that a normal thing for a prosecutor to suggest? That sounds to me more like something that would happen in another country, not the United States.
Well, look, it's a hardball tactic, and if there is a good faith ground for a criminal case against somebody, it's not unheard of. When I was a federal prosecutor, there were a lot of mafia cases where, there was probably lots of indication that the wives of these wise guys knew enough that you could probably, cobble together a case against them. But usually, that didn't happen. But this is different because they were threatening him with.
Go ahead.
They're threatening him with something that they, the Foreign Agency Registration Act prosecutions. There were about 6 of them in the half century before Mueller. It was something that they virtually never prosecuted.
And so now that he is cleared, is there a step where he could sue the federal government?
Yeah, he can do that. There are suits that involve the denial of your constitutional rights. If people who, acting under color of law, you can try to make out a violation that they intentionally deprive you of your constitutional rights. It's tough to do with police because the police have a right to be wrong, and I'm imagining that General Flynn is probably so delighted to be out from under this. He probably content himself with that, at least for a while.
Andy, is it true, as I'm being told in my ear, that a judge still has to agree with the Justice Department in terms of this move?
The judge has to sign off on the dismissal of the case. When the government makes a motion like this, Dana, it's pretty pro forma that the judge will do that. The way technically the way it works is Flynn has pled guilty, but the judgment has not been entered because he wasn't sentenced yet. And he's got pending motions before the court to vacate the plea and to throw out the case based on prosecutorial outrageous misconduct. Now the Justice Department is intervening under the federal rules and dismissing the case, but they need the leave of the court to do that. I can't imagine the court would object to this.
Michael Flynn changed his attorney and his lawyers. He made that change. Do you think that was a critical difference in getting to this point?
Yeah, I think it was the fact that that Sidney Powell fought this case so aggressively, coupled with the fact that the earlier lawyers were in a tough position, Dana, because they had represented Flynn on his submission of foreign agent registration documents with the Justice Department, which the Mueller investigation then turned around and investigated. So they were in the awkward position of kind of being an actor in the facts that were under investigation. And it's clear when they switched over to Sidney Powell, he got much more aggressive representation. Although I do think, under the circumstances, the law firm got what was regarded at the time as a pretty favorable deal for Flynn.
Right. What about the Durham investigation? This is a U.S. attorney from Utah who's been looking into the overall, the beginnings, the origins of the Russia investigation and the Trump campaign. He's been fairly quiet, but would he have been looped in on something like this? And could we expect some maybe additional actions when his investigation is complete?
Yeah, Dana, he's the U.S. attorney from Connecticut. There's another guy who was from Utah who was looking at another aspect of this long ago. And I think that I read someplace that Durham was coordinating, as you would expect, with Jeff Jensen, who was the U.S. attorney from Missouri, St. Louis, who Barr assigned to look at this. So I'm sure they're all coordinating. And the reason Durham is being quiet is he should be being quiet at this point if he's conducting an investigation and thinking about bringing charges.
What would then be the next step for Michael Flynn? Where do you go to get your reputation back?
Well, I don't think they can ever make him whole for everything that he has lost, financially, in terms of his professional prospects, et cetera, over the last few years. On the other hand, Dana, I think this is a much better result for him than even being pardoned, because the fiction with pardon is it's like it never happened in the first place. But we all know that would have been regarded as political, whereas this is really the Justice Department looking at a case that cried out to be looking at and doing the right thing.
Right, indeed. And his son, and I would imagine that as he lets all of this news wash over him, that he will be very grateful to his lawyers. But also hopefully feel a little bit of measure of being able to breathe easier. Andy, I'll give you the last word here.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to take an easy breath in 3 years, Dana. And, for the kind of service that he gave to the United States, that really is something that should bother all of us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Andy McCarthy. And I'm sure everyone here listening and watching.
And on that note, I agree with you, Movie Time. A great big kudos does go to Powell. She's a great attorney, and it's a shame he didn't get her quicker. She could have probably avoided a lot of trouble. So let's just pray and wish the best for General Flynn from this point on. His nightmare is over. A great patriot has been exonerated. But on the flip side, there's more. Jerry Nadler is outraged. Oh my God. Poor Penguin. The Penguin. Nader is just not very happy. He's already had, that's his second loss. He's such a tard. This is an outrage that Nadler wrote. And the evidence against him is overwhelming. Yeah, was it like overwhelming during the Trump impeachment? Right. It was all bullshit, as always. So basically, he's pissed. And he's got nothing. Poor Nadler. You can't win. He might as well just retire. But then again, Barr might have something on him, or who knows? You never know. So I really appreciate y'all joining. Whoever watches the replay, thank you very much. I do appreciate you very as well. There's still a lot of people that I may not see on Periscope or D Live that are watching, and I want to thank them very much. I do appreciate all of you. Hopefully it gave some insight to a lot of things that some of you may not know. It's a very long case. There's other things going on, and hopefully this helped you a little bit. So please follow me on D Live, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Please share. I would really appreciate it. And if you have any input, just drop me a DM, or there's my screen name right there, Iceman 4433. And that's the show. I'm working on a regular Tuesday night show. I'm getting things set up, so I hope to be there every Tuesday and do the thing. I'm kind of working on a show. I don't know exactly what yet. It's still in the works. I hope it won't take very much longer, because I got to get all this other stuff worked out. So I will hopefully bring you some news. Hopefully we can have some laughs. I'm trying to get some guests. I may have 3 set up, and I might be working on a special guest that maybe nobody can get. You never know. I'm still working on that, and I got to talk to their guy. So I do appreciate anybody in D Live. I'm going to open up the chest for you and bring out the rewards. I think Movie Time's the only one in there. If there is, I don't see them. And that is a possibility that does happen. So, God bless the President of the United States. Thank guys, the National Day of Prayer also. Can't forget that. Just pray for our President and Vice President. Keep giving them all the support and wisdom that they need in these times. It's Movie Time. He got 51 lemons. Congratulations, Movie Time. And pray for our military, our doctors and nurses, our law enforcement, and our Border Patrol, Coast Guard, and just your neighbor. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to continue to keep doing this. So keep in mind, in these hard times, we're pretty close to the end of this pandemic, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't really call it a pandemic. There's a lot of information coming out, and there's a lot of research still to be done on different things. And I don't want to really give away a lot because I'm still working on it. So let's just pray, help each other, be kind to each other. If you don't want to wear a mask, you go into a store, they say you need a mask, go away. Go to a different store where you don't need to. Don't cause any problems. We don't need that. It is not necessary. Just show courtesy if you don't want to wear it. That's all you got to do. Be kind to your neighbors, family members, everybody you can. And we got to pull this nation together. And we got to keep it together. We got to be as one and support our president. And we got to keep working to get our GOPs or Republicans, I should more or less say, MAGA candidates in the Senate, like John James of Michigan. Get out there, do some volunteer work, let the public know about them, and any MAGA candidate in your state, because we need the House. We need to take back this House from these insane Democrats. Cannot have them in there any longer. And we got to keep the Senate and re-elect our great president. I think this is going to be one hell of a blowout when it comes to a lot of races, actually, because really, Joe Biden is their nominee, and God only knows who is their vice president nominee. That ain't even a contest. It's going to be quite entertaining. That's definitely for sure. And just get out there, volunteer, get a sticker, make phone calls, go door to door. California, I'm still very proud of you for getting out there and protesting. Kudos to you as well. Keep it up. Don't give up. And vote that damn Newsom out. Get in a republic. Make California red again. Make Montana red again. All these blue states, make them red. As many as we can get. And we got to get Whitmer out of here. We got to vote her out. Or recall her. So, God bless you all. I appreciate your attention. I'll see you very soon. I may be back on again tonight. If I can get a lot of this material set up, I might be. And have a great